Good morning, dear students. Welcome to another session of Verilog HDL. So in previous session, we started off with gate level modeling, and we discussed what is meant by gate level modeling and what are the other level of modeling. So we had just seen an overview of those. And in gate level modeling, what we'll be doing is we'll be defining the circuits in terms of gates. Okay, such as AND gate and NAND or NOT. So these are the gates what we'll be using. So in that we went through the gate types, that is AND/OR gates. So in which the gates will be built using the and the OR gates. So that is we have AND. So another version of AND we can have NAND gate. And then we have OR. So with OR we can have XOR, XNOR, and NOR. So this is what we had discussed, and its symbolic representation we all know. In this one, what we are considering is we are considering one output, multiple input. So here we have shown two inputs and one output. So similarly, we can have more than two inputs and single output. So this is for the basic gates what we had discussed. And we had discussed how the instantiation happens in with respect to these gates. So regarding the truth table also we had discussed. For example, for AND gate, if any of the one input is 0, the output is 0. So here we can see that I1 and I0, if any one of the input is 0, the output is 0. So that is what we had seen. And if both the inputs are 1, then only the result will be 1. And if the inputs I1 and I2 are anything apart from that, that is either X or Z, then the output will be unknown, that is X value will be unknown. So similarly, other gates also we have checked. Then apart from this AND/OR gates, we discussed another one, that is buff/NOT gates, that is buffer or inverters. So in buffer, what we have one input and one output. We can have multiple outputs also. And in inverter, again, one input, one output, what is represented over here. That is, we have two, buff and not. Then we discussed how these can be instantiated. They can be instantiated with the keyword buff and not. Similarly, and or they'll be instantiated with the respective keywords. And another thing to remember here is, because we'll be using it henceforth again. So here, what we'll be doing is, if you just look at one example, here we have given wire out in one and in two. So now how I am instantiating this, and is the keyword, or it is the module which is defined in inbuilt module which is being defined in Verilog. We have A1, which is the name given to the module. So here this is A1 is nothing but the instance of this AND gate. The first one is always the output, and the rest all inputs are related to the input. So this is the case when we have single output, multiple inputs. Now that is the same thing which is followed over here. So in coming forth also we'll be seeing that first will be giving you the outputs, and next will be giving you the inputs to that gate. So you take any of this thing, this is how it goes around. So here another example they have taken, wherein you have one output and three inputs to that gate. Here we have two inputs and one output. So in buff, right, buff/not, we can just check out. First one is the output and next one is the input. Now here, as I specified, you can have multiple outputs also. That is, this buffer is driving say multiple gates or multiple say instantiations at the other end. That is, I'll be having another connection here, then another connection here. So for example, in this case, it will be 1, 2, and 3. So it can have single input, multiple outputs. Single input, multiple outputs. So this is example of single input, single output. And this one, if you just see, this is example of multiple outputs, but have single input. So here, the first set will be defining the output, but the last parameter what you have in this one will be defining the input input details or the input signal. So in these cases, the last one gives you the input, but in AND/OR gates, the first one gives you the output, because there is only single output in this case, whereas in this case there is only single input. So the last one gives you the information that this is the input and the rest all are the output. So this also we had discussed. Then we had discussed some conditional parameters applied over buffer and inverter. So buff if 0, not if, sorry, buff if 1, not if 1, buff if 0, and not if 0. So these were the things what we had discussed. So in buff if 0 and buff if 1, so we can see that we have, in this one, we have one extra input along with the regular input. So this is the control information. So here, this is for buff if 0 and this is for buff if, this is for buff if 1 and buff if 0. So similarly for not if 1 and not if 0. If the condition is satisfied, then only you will be getting the output, or else you will not be getting the output. So here, if I just take one example, just as a recap. So buff if 1. So we have control and the regular input to the buffer. And what this should do is, if the input is 1, then only there should be the output. But provided control also should be 1. Control also should be 1, or else you will not be getting the overall result. So here you can see that if control is 0 and output, no matter what it is there, it will not be present at the output. That is, here I'll not be getting any result. It will be in tri state. It will be in high impedance state. If control is 1, if control is 1, if input is 0, it will be displayed at the output, or it will be available at the output. If input is 1, then also it will be available at the output. So whatever is present at the input will be displayed at the output. Now, if control is X or Z, so their slight difference will come. So here what happens is, so here this one is one extra thing what you have to note down. So here if control is either unknown or it is in tri-state. So for these two conditions, we have special thing. So if input is 0 and control is X or Z, then what happens is the output, we are representing it as L. So what does L imply is, L implies that the output will be either 0 or it will be in tri-state. L means low. It will be either low. Low implies it will be logic 0 or it will be in tri-state. So it can be in any of these two. That is what L is represented as. Similarly, H represents logic 1 or tri-state. It will be logic 1 or tri-state. So here we can see that if control is X or Z, but if input to that one is 1, then the output will be represented as H. So it will be either 1 or Z. So this will not be no. That therefore it is represented as, it will be either of these. It is represented as H. Okay. So similarly, we have all other steps. So, but when we get buff if this one, right, we have output, input, and control information which has to be passed. So this is same for the other gates. Okay. Okay. There is one this thing which is not present in this book. So that is array of instances. We have another one concept which is called array of instances. So what happens in array of instances? We'll just check out with that part. So in this one, what happens is now previously you had these things, right? And say A1, then say output, then input 1 and input 2. So this is what we had written. Now there are some instances in which we have to pass not only one bit. I'll be having 8 bits, and then I have to go ahead. So how do I do that? So that is what I have to check out for. Say for example, in this case, say output, say this value. Instead of 1 bit, it is a vector of 3 bits. So for this case, input also should be in the same form. So it is 3:0. And input 2, this is also 3:0. So now this is what vector. But in this case, what it was, they were all scalars. That is, all were 1 bit. So this output I1 and I2, these were all 1 bits. Now suppose I have it in this form. I have it in this form. Then how do I instantiate? Suppose if I1 is 1010, that is 4 bits, and I2 is 1111. I want to AND this. So you should be getting output which is also 4 bits. So how I will be ANDing the this bit with its relevant bit in I2, that is least significant bit with the least significant bit. Then next this bit with the this bit. So if I call it as say this is as bit 1, bit 2, bit 3, and bit 4. So bit 1 of I1 should be ANDed with bit 1 of I2, and in that case you'll be getting bit 1 of output. So similarly, the other cases, 1 and 1 is 1, this is 0, and this is 1. So what is happening? Input is 4 bits, output also is 4 bits for these cases. And now here, what happens is, if I have to instantiate this one using this logic, then what would be happening? It'll be like, I'll be writing and say the first bit and first bit. I'll pass the, I'll take it in the first bit. Say I'll write it as 0. So I'll assume that this is the 0th index and this is the last index. Okay. So I of 0 for this one, I should consider I1 of 0 and I2 of 0. So I am doing bit by bit operations. I am ANDing I1 of 0 and I2 of 0. That is these 2 bits. I am ANDing these 2 bits, and here I am getting this bit. Similarly, I can go for the next one, say A2, or if you want, you can write it as A0 and let this be A1. Let this be A1. So this is A1. So for this one, again, it should be in square brackets. So it will be like this. So first bit of I1, first bit of I2, and it together, it will be the say bit position at this one. It will be the bit at output 1. So similarly, I have to write it say 4 times. Now, can this be avoided? So writing this same thing 4 times. So can this be avoided? So what we can do is we can avoid this writing it 4 times by just using one instruction. So how do we go ahead? What we do is we write and how many bits? 320. That is, there are 4 bits in this case. Say I'll write say output as A, and what I'll be doing is I'll be just be specifying output I1 and I2. So what this will be doing is it will be nothing but equivalent to these 4 instructions. These 4 instructions. So this is called array of instances. So these are the 4 array of instances. Instead of writing this one, I can achieve the same thing just using one instruction. And this array of instances is available for this primitives what are being defined in Verilog. Primitives which have been defined. If it is a user defined, for that it is not available presently. So and, not, nor. So these can be instantiated in this form. Okay. So for the primitive gates, what you have defined, for this one, you can do it in this form. So imagine if there are 100 bits and you want to add the 100 bits. So instead of writing it 100 times, what you can do is you can just write it one time and do the and get the result. So what this will be doing, it will be doing the same operation. First bit of this one, first bit of this one, first bit of this one. So and these 2 bits and you'll be getting the first bit of the output. So when I'm doing this operation, so this will go on up to the most significant bit. So this is what will be happening in array of instances. It will be array of instances. Okay. So that is not present in this book. It is present in the new edition. So we have discussed regarding array of instances. So next, continuing, let us see what are the different examples we can go ahead. So in this one, first one, what we'll be doing is we'll be discussing a gate level mux. Now here we'll be considering a 4:1 mux. Now since this is 4:1, that is I'll be having 4 inputs and 1 output. So how many select lines will be there? There will be 2 select lines because I should have 4 combinations. So it will be like 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. So 2 select lines and 1 output. So based on these select lines, output will be presented with one of these inputs. So if it is 0, 0, I0 will be presented to the output. If it is 0, 1, I1 will be presented to the output, 1, 0, I2 and 1, 1, I4. So since there are 4 inputs, I require 2 select lines. And here we can see that it is 4 inputs and 1 outputs. Therefore, we call it as 4:1 multiplexer or 4:1 mux. So when I simplify this, say using your K-maps or any other method, right, you should be able to implement this with the logic gates. So now this is the logical representation of the 4:1 multiplexer what we have discussed. So here you just imagine that this is the black box which consists of the mux implementation. So to this entire stuff, so this is a top level block I can specify. This is a kind of top level block which is present, which is built using these gates. Now here, so this logic diagram is again based on the equation what you will be developing. So you have the truth table. Using this truth table, you have to identify what is the overall circuitry. So these all things you know it. So now here what we have from external, you can see that we have 4 signals. I0, I1, I2, I3. That is, these are the inputs. And what are the other 2 inputs? The other 2 inputs are the select lines. So S0 and S1 are the select lines. And this is the output. So this is these are the inputs and this is the output for the overall 4:1 mux what we are discussing. Now, when you are implementing this, so these you are giving via switches in your digital circuits. On your trainer kits, you are giving it via the switches. And this you are observing, say, on the LED by connecting a wire to the LED output of this IC to the LED you are connecting and you are trying to see what is happening. So now, but in order to establish this entire thing, you should make the circuit connection. You should make the circuit connection as per the expression what you have got after simplifying the truth table. So from the truth table, you have obtained the expression and that is what you are implementing here. So these are your signals from the external world and this is the signal which is given to the external world. So now here how the connection is established. So you can see that S1 is first given to an inverter. So why this inverter has come? Again, based on the derivation or the simplification of the equation what you have done. So here we haven't shown that, but this is the overall representation. Now S0 is also given as uh, it is given as input to the inverter. So what we are just calling these intermediate signals, we are calling it as S1N and S0N. Now here, if you just observe what we have, input is present, I0, and the first AND gate, what is the input from the select lines? It is 0 and 0. So when these two are 0, they get inverted and this gate is selected. They get inverted and this gate is selected. So here one thing to remember is, so if I0 is 0, for example, if I0 is 0 and select line is 0 and 0, so 0 and 0 becomes what? It becomes 1 after the inverter and 1 after the inverter here. So these two are 1, I0 is 0. So what happens is at the output of the gate, I'll be getting 0. And if I0 is 1, so these two are 1 and I0 is 1, therefore I'll be getting 1. So what is this specifying? Here it specifies that if the select lines are 0, 0, I am getting I0 result over here. Now, if the same thing is given to others, right, based on the logic, what would happen is the others would not be selected. So here, if select line is 0, 0, I am getting the overall result. 0, 0 implies output will be I0. Similarly, for other gates, will be having the same implementation. So that is how the connection is shown. So here, when it is 0, 0, this AND gate should be selected. When it is 0, 1, so that is 0, 1. If you just observe, when it is 0, this is 1, and this one is selected. So when it is 0, inverter output is given to this AND gate, and when this is 1, right, directly it is given to this one. So what this does is this selects I1. This selects I1. So the same logic is implemented for the other AND gates. So this is the implementation based on this truth table. Okay. So here another few things to note down is so these are two intermittent signals. Here we can see that we have other intermittent signals. So which is output of these AND gates, And these Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3 are given as input to these gates. And then that is OR gate, and I'll be getting the overall result. Now here it is nothing but in your trainer kits or in your say a breadboard, how you connect the signals, right? That is what is represented here. So the same thing, I should be writing it in Verilog code now. So this is the logical representation. So now let us see how we go ahead with the Verilog implementation. So based on this diagram itself, we'll be discussing it. So first we should define the module. So we define it using the keyword module, and the name of this module is mux4 underscore 2 underscore 1. That is mux4 to 1. And generally we follow the policy that first sets will be giving you the output and the next set will be giving you the input list. So next we have to define the port list. So port list for this one is what? I0, I1, I2, I3, S0 and S1 and output. So that is what is specified. Output port, then these are all input ports. So this is the port list or the terminal list. Now I should have the declaration of these port list, which one is output port and which one is input port. So here we can see that we have output, which is out, and I0, I1, I2, I3, and S1 and S0 are both input ports. So here you have defined the module with the module name. You have given the port list, and here you have given the port declaration. So once the port declaration is done, so you have declared all these ports. Now what we should do is we should specify how these are connected to build the entire circuit. How these are connected to build the entire circuit. So here we can see. So this is for internal connections, what we do. So it is like you have the breadboard. On that breadboard, you have to place the ICs and you have to connect them. So how do you connect? So you will specify that I0 input should be given as one of the input to this AND gate. So you'll be writing like pin number 1, 2, 3, something you'll be specifying in this form, right? It is the same way. So now, so let us see it one by one. Okay. So here we can see that we have declared wire S1N and S0N and wire Y0 to Y3. So these are what? These are net data types. So these are for what purpose? You can see that intermediate, we have some connections which are present. So which will be getting some results. So Y0 will be getting the output of this AND gate. Y3 will be getting output of this AND gate. S0 will be holding the value of this inverter. So those signals will be referred using these data types. So here we have defined those things. Now what we should do is we should go ahead with the connections. We should go ahead with the connections. Now remember for the gates, right? Whatever we did, say for example, AND gate, if we have, the first one gives you the output, the next all inputs will give you the input. The next all parameters will give you the input. Similarly for NOT gate, since it is one input and one output, the first one specifies the output and the second parameter specifies the input. So now how this one is defined? NOT, there is no name for this instantiation. This is permitted. This is permitted. So I have S1N, which is the result of S1. So here you can just check. This is the NOT gate. What is the output of this one? It is S1N. What is the input to this one? It is S1. So what you have done is you have defined this connection. You have defined this connection. So what you're doing, S1 is given as input to the inverter and S1N will be getting the output. Similarly for this one, S0N is the output of this inverter and input to this one is S0. So we have to define this also. So here you can see that the second one, NOT gate, again, no this thing. So S01 is the output and S0 is the input. So here we don't have the names. So this is what it is specifying, that it is specifying the connection. It is specifying the connection. Now, similarly, we have three AND gates, right? Here, we have three AND gates whose output is Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3 respectively. And inputs are what? It is S0, then it is S1 or S0. Sorry, it is I0, then it is S1 or S0. But what we are doing is we are not directly giving this. We have to see whether I have to give the inverted version also to that gate. So for the first one, if you just see, it is I0, it is I0, then S0, S1N and S0N. So these are the inputs to this one, and this is the output. So here, if I just see how I'll be defining this thing, how I'll be defining the connection. So here I have and, so which is the primitive which is being defined in Verilog. I don't have any names given to this one. So this is permitted as we had discussed in previous this thing. So Y0 is the output. Y0 is the output, this case. Then what is the input? I0, S1N and S0N. So it is I0, S1N and S0N. So this is for the first case. So let us look at the another case also. So let us look for the second one. So how do I get output Y1? So here if I just check, here I have output Y1 Input to this one is what? So output is y1. Input to this one is what? Input to this one is i1. And if you just track down this one, we have S1 n as another input. And this one, if you just track, this is S0 directly. This is S0. So these three inputs will be giving me the result of Y0. So here you can see the first one, the second one, Y1 is the output, input is I1, and the other input is S1n, and the other input is S0. So similarly, we have these four AND gates. Four AND gates connection is being defined. Connection is being defined here. Okay. Connection, we are defining these things. So once these four, so first we defined what should be the inverter input and output. So we defined this part. Next, using S1, S0, I1, I1, I0, I1, I2, I3, and S1n and S0n, I'll be defining the AND gates, how they are connected, and what is the result they are giving. So these are the four results, what it is, what these AND gates are providing using these inputs. So now what is the last stage? Last stage is the OR gate, which is taking Y0, Y1, Y2, and Y3 as input. So that is a wire from this AND gate should go as input to this OR gate. A wire from here should go as input to this OR gate. So this is the case. And output of this one is what? Your final result. So here we have OR gate. Output is what? Your final output. And that is which will be given to this part. This one. And what is the input? Input is nothing but the output of these AND gates. That is Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3. So this is how the multiplexer will be built. So this is gate level implementation. This is gate level of abstraction. So in this case, what you're doing is you are specifying how the gates are interconnected with each other. How the gates are interconnected with each other in order to implement the logic what you want. So here you defined all the connection to all the gates now. So in order to check the implementation, what we have done for 4:1 marks, we have to go for the stimulus block. So in this one, we define module stimulus. There is no parameter list or terminal list for this one. Now what we do is we define the parameters of register data type as in1, in2, in3, and in0. Similarly, we provide the S1 and S0. So these are the signals which will be getting connected to these parameters. These are the signals which will be getting connected to these one. That is, it is like you are changing the switch. So this is the switch which helps us to change that value. So that is how I can I can give an analogy for. And output, we are defining it as wire. So you should remember what are the connection rules within the module and outside the modules. What data type is permitted. Okay, so that we had discussed in previous session. So here we have, so now we have declared these things. Now these I'll be using to control this entire stuff. So what will be the control? What will be the signal for I0, I1, I2, I3? Similarly for S0 and S1, and what will be the overall result? So using these, I'll be obtaining those. So let us see how we move ahead. So here we have mux 421. So that is nothing but this module. So what you're doing is you're creating an instance of the above module what we have defined. The instance of this module is termed as mymux, which is the name for mux 421. Now here, what are the parameters which I have to send? You can see that I should send one output. then I should send I0 to I3 and S1 and S0. So these are the parameters, or these are the parameter list what we'll be passing on. So this output, that is this parameter, will be going in output, and these inputs what we have specified will come and sit in these cases, that is IN1 to IN3. Similarly, S1 and S0 will be representing this. So that is they'll get connected to this one. So you are changing the switch, so wire will be carrying that information. So something of this kind. So the parameter list you have to provide. So based on this one, now I have instantiated the MUX 4:1 MUX module what we have built, and its name is given as my MUX. Now how do I stimulate this one? So I stimulate it in this form. That is, I begin with initial, which is a keyword. Then I start off with the initial things. Now what I'm doing is I'm defining these parameters. So I'm assigning some values over here. So these are the values of IN1 up to IN3. So it is 1, 0, 1, 1. Now what I should be doing is I should change the select lines and see whether I'm getting the intended result or not. So here what we are doing is #1 is nothing but after one time unit, you call this function, that is the system function, so system task. You call the system task, which will display these things. So what it is displaying, it is displaying what is the value of IN0, what is the value of IN1, IN2, IN3. So it is bit representation. %B specifies that it is bit. So you're passing these. So here what should happen? 1, 0, 1, 1 should be displayed. So after one time unit. So that is what is given here. So this is the output of that display function what we have discussed now. Now next one, what we do is we change the select lines. We change the select lines. So I make select line as S1 is equal to 0 and S0 is equal to 1. Now I try to see what is the output. What is the output? So as per these select lines, the output should be what? Output should be related to IN0. So IN0 is what? It is 1. So here this output should be representing the IN0 result because I have selected that part. So here after one time unit, you call this system task and you see what are the parameters you have given. Our main intention is to see whether it is operating or not. So let us come to this one. So here S1 is 0, S0 is 0, and output is what? It is 1. So this is nothing but a result of IN0. That is this value. That is this value. Similarly, after another time unit, I'll say change the select lines. I'll make it as 0, 1. So once I change the select lines, uh, what happens is this goes and instance is created. This goes and makes the changes and obtains the result because we have declared that instance over here. So I have changed the parameter over here, S0 and S1, I have changed it. So once there is a change, this gets executed. This gets executed. So once it gets executed based on these select lines, I'll be getting an appropriate result in the output. So after one time unit, again you display these things output. So in this case, output should be related to IN1. So similarly, even for all others, we have obtained over here. And finally, you end this stimulus block. And this stimulus block. So that is what is being displayed here. Okay, this 0 is relevant to this one. This 1 is relevant to I1. This one is relevant to IN3. So this is how you have to build the gate level logic for given implementation and then go ahead with the simulation. So this is how it will be appear. Okay, next another example we'll be discussing regarding 4-bit full adder, but before going into that, we'll just discuss about 1-bit full adder. So in 1-bit full adder, what we have, sum is given as A XOR B XOR C in, and C out is given with this equation. So this is obtained from your truth table. This is obtained from your truth table. So you got to know that which all gates you have to utilize. Which all gates will be utilizing. So now the same thing is represented in logic diagram form here. So you can see that sum, C out, A, B, and C in. So we can see that A, B, C in, C out. So these are the ports which have to be available. That is, these are the signals what you'll be providing. So these are like you're connecting the switches. You're connecting the switches and you're trying to see what is the result on the LED. So that is how it represents. So now based on this equation, you can see that A XOR B is the first case. A XOR B, which will be resulting in an intermittent signal S1. Then you have to XOR it with Cin. You can use a three-stage XOR gate also, but here they have represented it in this form. So this is also fine. So here A XOR B will be giving you S1, and the result S1 XORed with Cin will give you the overall sum. So that is this gate. Okay. So this is how you interconnect using the wires. How you are connecting using the wires on your breadboard. So sum will be obtained by building this circuit, that is these XOR gates. So this part will be giving you the sum. Now we have to go similarly for the carry C out. So for C out, what we have A and B. So this is A and B, which is giving you intermittent result of C1. The result of this one should be combined with the result of this thing. Combined with the result of this one. Now here you can see that you have A XOR B ANDed with C in. So in S1, I have this result A XOR B, and this one you are ANDing with C in. So you'll be getting the overall result of S2. So this is S2 and this one is C1. So now what we have to do, C1 ORed with S2. C1 you have to OR with S2, you will be getting C out. So here you can see that C1 is, sorry, I think just cross verify this one. He has given XOR. It should be OR over here. It should be OR. Okay. They have represented XOR. So this is a misprint over here. Okay. It should be OR gate. Okay. So here C1 ORed with S2. C1 ORed with S2. So this is C1 and this is intermittent signal S2 and this you are ORing. This you are ORing. So here you will be getting C out. So this part of the circuit will be giving you the C out. So this is your logical connection what you have. See how you build it on the breadboard. So now we have to do the same thing in Verilog code. You have to do the same thing in Verilog code. So how do we do it? Again, we define a module. Now we are just building a 1-bit full adder. So full add is the name of this module. And what are the parameters? Sum and C out are the outputs, sum and C out. And the other port lists are these things, A, B, and C in. Now, so port list we have defined, we have to declare these ports. That is sum and Cout are output. So output, sum and Cout are this thing, and A, B, and Cin are all input. So we have declared these IO ports. Now to these ports, I should provide some connection. So that is done via the stimulus block. But using these, I have to build the rest all. So here you can see that I should have one wire defined for S1, one wire defined for C1, and one wire defined for S2, because these will be carrying your intermittent results. These will be carrying your intermittent results. So it is like you have connected A as one input to the XOR gate on the breadboard, B as another input on the another input to the XOR gate on the breadboard, and this XOR gate is giving you the result of S1. So S1 should go as, so you should be connecting a wire from this gate to this gate, and even you have another wire which is going from this gate to the other gate. So that you are defining with the help of S1. So that is what you are trying to establish over here. Okay. So here we should have wire S1, C1, and S2. Here as again misprinted, it is S2. Okay. Here he has shown it as C2. It is misprinted. It is S1, S2, and C1. Okay. So these are the things what you have what you will be using for the intermittent connections. Now, what is the first case? The first case is XOR. Input is A and B directly, and output is S1. So that is what you have defined. Here it is XOR gate, no name, so it is permitted. S1 is the output, A and B are the input. So this one is giving you this result. This one is giving you this result. So similarly, others, if you just check, AND gate, C1, A and B are the input. So here it is this gate. It is this one. So I want C1 output for which A and B are the inputs. So it is an AND gate. So this part is done. So remaining what we have, say we have this XOR gate. Input to this one is what? Input to this one is S1 and Cin. S1 and Cin. So let us see whether it is there. We have XOR gate. Uh, we have XOR gate. Output is sum. Input is S1 and Cin. So output is sum. Input is S1 and Cin. So similarly, we have the other part, AND gate, in which we have C2 as the output and S1 and Cin as the input. And last one is the OR gate. That is this part wherein S2 and C1 are the input and output is Cout. So it is OR gate, Cout is the output, and C2 and C1 are the input. So this one will be giving you the implementation of this logic diagram. This is the implementation what you have done using the gates. So again, you write stimulus block for this one, and you change the inputs and try to see what is the overall result. So let us wind up here for this session.